You're listening to FAMcast, the For All Manakind podcast, with your hosts, the competitive spirit, Trey Simpson, our own devil's advocate, Tim Weber, and the hopelessly optimistic Trevor Jorgensen. This is FAMcast.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to FAMcast. This is episode 76. What a wild past, 24 to 48 hours it has been.
Things just happened.
Things happened, and not the way that I don't think anybody anticipated, especially Xbox. So just a quick little story recap. Let's see what today is. I guess
10th?
Wednesday,
Yep.
technically. So Monday night, and going into Tuesday, just to give you a little refresher here, there was a leak online, basically showing everything about the Xbox Series S, right? So it showed what it looked like, this tiny little white box with a black circle on it for
Speaker box.
little speaker box looking thing. With a price point. So the leak included the price point of $299. It included the release date of November 10th. This leak had everything out there, and this is pretty late at night, probably close to midnight Eastern time, if not a little bit later. So I'm sure So to put that in perspective, Microsoft is based in Seattle, so probably 9 p.m. ish their time. And these poor people probably didn't get any sleep at all because of this leak.
No way.
Yeah. So they had to basically do, I guess not really damage control, but they just had to up their timeline by a whole week pretty much. And just say, hey, yep, that's true. Here it is.
When you say a whole week, like, were they planning to announce it next week?
Yeah.
Yeah. So Aaron Greenberg came out today on Twitter and said, it's a little bit earlier than we wanted to. We wanted to say it next week, but it's out there and it's all great news. They handled it super well. Like they were on it. They were on it on socials with the memes and all the viral tweets. Like they handled it extremely well. It sucks to have to keep something under wraps for so long just for it to get leaked. I don't know.
It's the world we live in.
But yeah, it happened.
Yep.
And someone's polishing their resume right now, I'm sure. So with that, Xbox came out and said, hey, those rumors are true. It's official, but you're hearing it from us now. So November 10th, we are getting the Xbox Series S, which is their smaller console. And I guess we could just dive right into the differences, right? Because today they put out I guess kind of like a spec sheet comparing the two. So yeah, I guess let's just dive into the comparison, because we know that the Series S and the Series X are launching on the same day, November 10th.
Okay.
So they're launching right alongside each other. But there's a decent chunk in price between them, $299 versus $499. So that probably has you wondering, which one's the best for me? What a great question. Tim, why? I'll throw it over to you first, and we'll just kind of go around the table here. What do you think the biggest comparison, like spec wise, between, like, if someone's looking between both consoles, what do they need to know?
So to me, if I'm looking, aside from price, of course, right? To me, the biggest thing is that 4K versus 1440, right? 1440,
Yeah.
right?
1440. Yeah.
Because to me, here's what that tells me. If I'm a streamer who streams my Xbox, or I play games and I don't have a 4K right now, which, to be honest, 4K TVs are really cheap. So I don't know if that's so much a big thing, but it might be for some. It very well might be. But like, I run a 1440, did up until recently. I was running on a 1444 monitor, right? Or 1440 monitor. And to me, if I saw those specs and I saw that price point being that different, and realistically speaking, for the majority of the things that you're going to do, that I would do, a 1440 would be enough for me, because I'm not going to play at 4K if I have a monitor like that. I could save $200 and realistically not notice a whole lot of difference, right?
Sure.
As to where if I was running, which I am now, a 4K monitor or a 4K TV, then I'm probably going to look more into making sure I get one that can do the 1440 or the 4K, because they can both, according to the chart, support up to 120. I do think that's interesting how they put it there on that sheet. They do 4K at 60 FPS or 1440 at 60 FPS, comma, up to 120.
Yeah.
So I don't know, that is a really weird wording to me on that aspect of it. Why wouldn't you just say at 1440, or like, why would you put the up to? So I'm very curious about that. But to me, that's the biggest difference. That if I'm a buyer, that's what I'm going to look at first.
Sure. And I think that's probably the one I would have picked too. That's if, especially like parents going into the holidays, not knowing which one to get for your kids. The biggest thing, do you have a 4K TV? No, you're probably good with an Xbox Series S. I agree with you 100%.
That's actually
They're
what I
going to
had
play
to
the
do
same
today.
games, right?
Yeah, they play the same games.
Yeah, they can play the same games. Mm-hmm.
What were you going to say, Trey?
That's what I did for somebody today. They I retweeted our picture or our post about the Series X, and then my stepsister-in-law, I guess you could say. I don't even know how my stepsister. I'll say that. She was like, "Well, what would be good for my 6-year-old son? The last Xbox or last console that we got was a 360." I was like, "Oh, just go with the Series S."
100%.
I mean, you get Game Pass, and it's much cheaper. You know, you don't have to worry about 4K and all that nonsense because he's a kid. He's not going to be like, "Mom, I want 4K." You know, it's not going to matter.
Yeah.
Fortnite's going to look just fine in 1440. It's okay.
Yeah.
Right. He's 6. I don't even think he plays Fortnite yet. He can play Minecraft at the most pristine visuals. So
yeah. Right. So we've No, I was just gonna say so far we've covered the 200 price point difference, and we've covered the resolution difference. Trey, what if you're looking between the two? What do you have any others that you might want to call out? Any other differences between the two?
Other than like the processor is like slightly weaker on the Series S, but it's only by like 0.2.
Yeah,
I think it's 0.2.
So that's not like a huge difference. Excuse me, sorry. I mean, beyond that, I honestly haven't looked too much into it, man. I've been at work, so
yeah, well, that's fair.
To be real.
I think for me then, like if I had to, like if someone came to me with that, I think it's physical versus digital.
I mean, yeah,
okay.
that's too. I didn't think about that.
Like and I think that's kind of where some people might have a hard time, because you've got budget gamers that still rely on the used game market, right? Like that's pretty much how they play their games. Yeah. And I think Game Pass is trying to replace the need for that.
It's doing okay,
and
too.
I really hope it does. I think we've seen so many additions to Game Pass, and we've just seen this program grow. I really hope that for the budget gamer, the Xbox Series S is the go-to system. You're saving $200. You're paying $299 for a next gen system, which is, to me, is pretty wild.
It's the same price as the Switch right now.
Yeah.
Like
you get to play all your old games get up-res to their best versions. So again, if you're even if you're not playing on a 4K TV, you're still going to see improvements on Xbox One games that you previously purchased or download on Game Pass. You're going to be playing the best version of that game possible, which I think is really cool.
And on top of that, just on top of what you're saying, like I think what you said was spot on. Like you don't need to dish out a ton of money because you don't really have what would be quote unquote required to really get the best out of that $500 model, right? And me and Trevor have said it several times when it comes to computers. Like we talk about monitors and stuff all the time. Frame rate over resolution all the time. If you can hit 120 FPS and get 1440, you will notice that difference clear as day compared to a smaller TV running 4K versus 1440.
Oh, absolutely.
So you're getting, if they were to choose to keep it cheaper but have it 4K and 60 versus 1440 at 120, I promise you the 1440 at 120 would most likely look so much better, so much smoother.
Yeah. I think that is their, I don't want to say their flagship. There's a different word I'm looking for, but that's like their
entry.
That's a good entry.
Like,
that's a good, yeah.
That's their main. What am I?
It's their 3070.
Look here. It's their big seller this holiday, man. Like I think this holiday we're going to see more sales of the Series S than the Series X easy.
Right. I would agree. 100%.
And I think that's great. I think that's super good on them for making that.
They've built out this ecosystem. It's taken them, a couple years to kind of pull all these pieces together, I think, but now that you have Game Pass Ultimate, to where you get Game Pass on console, Game Pass on PC, and Xbox
Play
Live.
Now. Yeah, now EA Play.
And yeah, announcing today that EA Play is included, which is huge. That used to be an additional $5 per month that you would have to pay. Now it's just wrapped in, and they're not changing the price of Game Pass. Right. So now you're going to get all of EA's games, which I think is great, especially if EA is going to hold on to these Star Wars titles for a couple more years. I will gladly take those on EA Play.
So just to kind of and make people understand this, because I don't know if people are aware, there is a difference between EA Play and EA Access. Are we aware of this?
So go for it. Break it down.
So my understanding, and someone can correct me wherever you're listening to, EA Play was what they announced first. And EA Access is actually the more expensive premium service that came after it. So EA Play was, we have a vault of games for you to play. They're mostly older, but you also get 10% off of all the new games that are coming out, all the EA games. You get 10% off of all EA games and EA game and in-game purchases. And you usually get like a 72-hour early access to a new EA game coming out, and you get like 2 hours to play it without having to purchase it. That is my understanding of how the difference. And then Access, and again, I could be wrong. Maybe I have them reversed, because I thought Access was. Go for it.
So do you want me to? I just don't want you to feel bad if I jump in and give you the.
No, go for it. Because
I didn't know either, so I just pulled it up here. So EA Access was the original name, and all it was rebranded.
Okay.
So it was just a rebranding. So it's EA Play. And that just happened, looks like about a year ago. It switched over August of last year. Okay. So the service by itself is $4.99 a month, or $30.
I have that, or still have that.
Yeah, $30 for a year.
Yep.
And that's when they moved it over to Steam, or was that this year? I might be. I apologize. It wasn't a year ago. It was August this year. I've been stuck inside so long, I kind of forget what month it is. So yes, just about a month ago, it switched from EA Access to EA Play.
So the reason I want to make sure the people out there know what that is, I don't want them to think that is the service where you get all the EA games, or not all, but a good chunk, like right away for free, right? So the more expensive one, that was like their $15 or $20 one, whatever they have, that's different than EA Play. Just so everyone, that the EA Play was what I was just describing. That is the whole, you get. Okay. You get 10% off of their EA titles. You get their EA games, like a demo before it actually releases, stuff like that.
Yeah, so it looks like a library of more than 100 electronic arts titles. 5-day free trials with new games the weekend before they launch. The 10% discount. On anything they buy from EA. So that includes full games, DLC and expansions, and microtransactions.
And for $5 a month or $30 a year, it was great, right? Yeah. It wasn't very expensive. If you're big into EA games, which they have some big hits. They have Battlefield, they have Star Wars, they have Burnout, they have all your sports games, right? Yeah. So realistically, for the $5, it's a lot. And now that's just straight up included. That's just great. It means I don't. Yeah, so
just more games to play.
Right. And for those that don't understand how good Game Pass is, and you're still on the fence about it, I'm telling you, it's the best digital service that you're going to get right now.
Yeah. If you're a gamer, you absolutely should have it.
And Trey doesn't even care that much for Xbox. But
Xbox isn't Xbox's version of.
I care. Okay, I care.
I think we've probably said this before, but next gen for Xbox isn't really about these consoles. It's about this accessibility behind this ecosystem that they've built. This gaming as a service is their next gen. They have powerful consoles for sure. Now, do they have the launch titles behind it to make it a day one purchase? I don't think so. I
haven't seen one.
Not for me.
But you can't deny the amount of games that they have on this service that just keep changing, keep growing. They just added Destiny a month or two back. It's a service that's just going to keep evolving, and I think that's really that's their flagship is Game Pass. That's the one thing that they have that Sony or Nintendo just can't touch. Let's
hope. I'm down for it.
Yeah, trust me. I would. If you give me a Game Pass on Nintendo and PlayStation, I'm in.
Because PlayStation now is not
right.
Great.
It's just not close.
Yeah,
but to have all these titles and I feel bad because Halo's a big hit, right? To not have that at launch when originally it was supposed to be. Now, props to the team for making that tough decision, because nobody wants to delay a game, especially during a next-gen console launch. But to launch something that wasn't finished, that just would have nobody wants smashed.
That.
Yeah. So props to them for making that tough decision, because that sucks. They feel terrible, I'm sure. But yeah, good on them.
The scary thing is, thinking about what you said, was like, I legit sit here and think there's not a single Xbox Series X game coming out at launch that I can think of that I care enough about to buy. Like I can't think of one. Not a single title. Like, the thing I'm most excited about, and this might sound terrible, is to see Warzone run at 4K 120 on my monitor. On my Xbox. So that's how I stream it, right? I play it when I'm not on stream on my PC, but when I'm streaming it, because of how things are working, I have to play it on my Xbox. So being that I play both pretty regularly, my PC and my Xbox version, I want to see how close those can come. Like, that's what I'm most excited about.
I think what'll really be interesting is once you get one of these new 3000 series graphics cards, and see that side by side.
Yeah, I agree.
Because then we're really looking at next gen versus next gen.
Right.
So yeah, we'll wait to see how that looks.
There's another interesting difference. Not interesting, but I don't know if you see it on the paper. I saw it. There's a few things I noted out that I saw on that paper in my mind. I was like, this is very weird. The teraflops. There is a massive gap.
Yeah.
In the it goes from 12, right? Is it 12 on the Series X?
24
or 20?
It's 20 on the Series
20
X.
on that Series X.
And then
down
it's like
to
53.
4.
Yeah.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah. Yes, 4.
Maybe we'll go something different.
That is a massive gap. And the only reason I bring this up is this is coming from a company that's all about them teraflops. So
they love them flops, man.
That is a gap. Like, that is I saw that on that paper because I read through that. I was like, that is. Oh, there's another thing on there that, because of the wording, I'm curious about.
Okay.
So the teraflop thing was large, right?
Sure.
Did you notice did you read the expandable storage part?
Yeah.
Where it specifically said card by 1 terabyte.
Yeah. So they have their proprietary cards, their memory cards.
So they're going to have proprietary memory cards. That's an issue. To me, I think that's a problem. I mean, whatever it is, what it is. I guess it'll depend on how expensive they are. But I find we shouldn't need to go back to that day. In a day and age where it should be as simple as buying an expandable drive and popping in, just like you can now. I feel like that is us. That is them going. That is them going everywhere forward and taking one step back from that.
Yeah, and so I've got 2 points on that. One for and one against, right? Okay. So I don't really like the idea of them having these proprietary cards that have their own Microsoft slot that you can only get through Microsoft, and because at that point it kind of fucks with the market, right?
They set the price point.
Yeah. So my only thought against that as far as maybe why it's not opened up to third parties. I'm not a business person. I don't know how this shit works. This is just a guess. But I know that there is some very new custom technology, both on Xbox and PlayStation side. So I'm curious if that's why, is if the technology just maybe
That's
isn't maybe it's just not feasible for other people to do it. I don't know. But I agree. I don't like the idea, but maybe it's the only option for now.
Right.
And maybe we see that change in the future.
I'm assuming we're talking about like the NVMe drives and stuff like that they're doing.
With their expandable the cards.
Well, I mean, like instead of doing like just the expandable memory, other than doing the cards, like how now you can just buy like an external hard drive and hook it up to your Xbox PlayStation and be like, okay, I have more memory now.
Right.
Whereas like in PlayStations, I don't know if it's the same thing with Xboxes, but with PlayStation, you can just buy like a bigger SSD and put it in your PlayStation and call it a day.
Xbox is the same concept as of right now. Like right now, you can go out and buy any kind of external hard drive and just plug it in, call it a day. Like that's how you do it right now.
Yeah.
But this new system, they're actually using these dedicated memory cards. Now, the only pro I can think of for it, and I'm not sure how pro this is one of the ways people hack consoles, like we'll use like Warzone as an example, is through a memory drive. Like that's most of the time how it happens, right? So you can plop some stuff into an external hard drive, get what you need that will work. You pop it into your Xbox, and it'll just convert to whatever. So hopefully maybe this is also like an anti-cheat thing. You know, if it can't plug into a PC, that means you can't bring those files over. That means you can't have that access. Maybe, and I'm not saying that's right, and I could be wrong on all kinds of sorts of levels. The only reason I remember that is you guys remember back in the day, the 360 had that hard drive on the top, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So you guys remember JTags? Were you guys around for JTags?
No.
So we called them JTags, or they were called JTags on like Call of Duty 2 and Call of Duty Modern Warfare 1 and Modern Warfare 2, because they were like, you were able to make your name colorful and stuff. You couldn't do that unless you use that hard drive to bring hacks over to the game. That's how people hacked those games on the 360.
It's a game shark. Got it.
More or less. So you would turn your hard drive into a game shark. The issue was, and I think Microsoft didn't think this through, was you got this USB thing to help move your stuff from one hard drive to another, right? When you got a new hard drive, bigger hard drive, that's how you did. Well, that also had just a USB at the end, so you just plug that into your computer, and that's how people brought them to them. I don't know why I went down 360 history or lane, but that to go along with the memory thing, I'm just thinking of positive notes as to maybe why that's another reason.
Sure. Yeah, and there could be some security reasons behind it. I'm sure they have their reasons regardless. They definitely have shown themselves to be very pro-consumer, kind of with all their moves. So I don't think that this is just I don't know. At the end of the day, they are a business, so I guess I can't say that it's not a money grab, but I think that their business model is very consumer friendly.
Right.
And I think alongside with that, talking about their installment pricing. So their Xbox All Access. So you can pay $24.99 a month for 24 months. And you see this with cell phones now too, to where it's just easier to pay in installments. But you pay $25 a month for the Series S, or $35 a month for the Series X.
Yep.
So I don't know. I think that's just one more way that they're making sure that as many people as possible can get into this Xbox ecosystem as they can.
It was 30 for the Xbox One X?
35.
35.
Yep.
What all does that include?
So I think it's the console and then Game Pass Ultimate.
I'm just trying to do math. So that's $840 is what that comes out to be. So Game Pass Ultimate's $100, right?
So $15 a month times 12. I'm not good.
Well, I think, but if you buy it like you think they did it that way, like instead of doing the yearly discount, they just do it the 15.
Yeah,
that might be right.
So that comes out to $860.
Okay.
I don't think there's any discount. I think it's just making it.
I wanted to see if there was like interest, or like are they making
Oh,
more on people?
no,
doing
I don't.
that?
I don't think you're paying more or less. I think it's just it's just like cell phones to where
860.
it's just dividing it up.
Okay. It is $20 more, but if they did it that route, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Or no, it's Wait, no, it's $20 less. Actually, it's $20 less if they did the 15 times the 24 plus the 500 math. But
My head hurts. Please continue.
I think
Another
that
conversation.
alone, even if they didn't have an Xbox Series S, that alone would help them sell more than not than a PlayStation, but it would help them, because now not only do you have two separate consoles coming out, one more affordable than the other, and still a very, very good console for the price.
Yeah.
Now, for those people who look, Christmas's time this year is going to be rough for a lot of families because of everything that's going on. It is going to be rough. And that right there makes the entry into one of these consoles a no-brainer.
Yeah.
No-brainer for most people.
And instead of dropping, because even at the
I'm
300,
thinking about it.
oh, right.
Yeah. I'm
It's
thinking about it.
instead of dropping, a couple $100 for a new console, drop the 25 for
Right.
that first month or whatever you have to do, and you're set.
It's that easy.
It makes things a lot easier on parents this holiday, or not even parents, just anyone this holiday. Everyone's had a rough year financially, I'm sure. Obviously some more impacted than others, but I love their approach that they're just making sure that as many people can get into these consoles as they can.
But what happens if you stop making payments? Is someone just going to come
They
take your
just come take
Xbox? Is your Xbox just going to brick itself?
Wouldn't that be
until you pay?
great? Someone just came and took your Xbox.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't know. Like that's a legit question.
Yeah,
I don't
that
It
know
is.
how
That's actually a
gonna
very
work.
good question. I didn't think about it.
I'm
Like,
sure
are they
there's
just gonna,
some
like,
sort of collections.
stop your account.
It probably goes
or-
to collections or something like that,
Yeah.
just
probably.
like it would with a phone or something if you don't pay.
And I think it's a risk they're willing to take. Like,
Yeah.
I'm sure they can break your IP if need be, if they have something like that. I'm sure that's not that difficult.
Yeah.
I would love to see PlayStation do the same thing, because look, if PlayStation does the same thing,
Mhm.
and I can get both consoles and all I'm paying is $70 a month, why drop $1,000 when I can do that?
Done.
Yeah.
Sold. Yeah.
Easy.
Like, in a heartbeat, I would do that.
It'll and so
I can get a
kind of
computer.
to that point. So obviously Xbox didn't want to release or didn't want this information to come out till next week, right? But
Right?
it's here.
It is.
And not only is all the information there, but the pre-order date is there, which I think the pre-order date is kind of the biggest piece of information there. So it's September 22nd is when pre-orders open. And I say that, when I say that, I mean, now it forces Sony's hand. It does. It forces their hand, not necessarily just for the release date and their price point, but pre-orders are going to start
Information
in
in
2
general.
weeks, right? So if you don't come out and say anything, people are going to pre-order the Xbox Series X because it's there.
Right.
They have the option to pre-order this, and if they're not sure when or how much a PS5 is going to cost, they're going to get an Xbox. So they have 2 weeks. They have less than 2 weeks to give us this information before they lose a pretty important first battle in my mind.
And I mean, it's always a very important battle.
Yeah.
And I'm slightly worried because they've waited so long to share this price. I don't think that's a good thing. I think the only reason you hold back on price is because you're afraid that your competitor is lower. So now that, and you might want to make some adjustments if possible on the back end.
Okay.
But yeah.
Oh,
go
I'm
ahead.
sorry. Go ahead.
No,
I'm sorry. Okay. So here's my thing about the price.
Mhm.
So you're right. That's big, especially if they're holding it back. That's very big. Granted, Microsoft didn't necessarily want to tell theirs yet either. It just kind of happened, right?
Right. But theirs was,
But
to be fair, theirs was good. I think
that's
theirs
true.
Theirs was best case scenario in my opinion.
Yes,
But
because
continue.
I honestly expected that Xbox One X to be $600, no less. So if PlayStation learns anything from this, I really think they should do a pricing model just like Xbox. I think that's going to help people buy your console no matter the price. Okay, it's $700. That's really high, by the way. I'm just saying $700. You're talking $10 more a month tops, right? So that would help other people Who cares? Who cares at that point? It's $45 a month for $35. I'm still gonna get the console that I want versus $700. Oh God.
Especially if you have some pretty solid launch titles you want to play day one.
Right. On top of if you know, and I'm very curious how they're going to do the pre-order system for Xbox, because if they do a pre-order system, I'm assuming their financial service or their financial thing that they're doing is directly through their website exclusively. I don't know of any other place you can do it.
Correct. From my understanding, the only way you can do Xbox All Access, which, man, their names just have me tongue-tied all the time, man. Xbox All Access for an Xbox Series X.
Xbox One, Series X, S One. So if they do it directly through the website, and because you're doing it directly through the website and you're able to pre-order it via that way, and they can somehow guarantee launch day delivery, like you're going to sit here and tell me I'm going to pay you $25 or $35 for that first month and I'm guaranteed to have it day one. Okay.
Yeah. And we didn't have any pre-order information really either. It's just, hey, it's happening September 22nd. And that was pretty much it.
I'm very curious if you can pay it off early, like in a year, like, oh, I just want to pay it off and call it a day.
I would
probably.
I would hope so.
Because that would make it even better.
Yeah. Come bonus time for some people, just, pay it off in full. Just to be done with it.
That is so a tempting offer, dude.
The only thing we've seen, so we know that pre-orders for the Xboxes start in less than 2 weeks now. Mm-hmm. The only thing we've gotten from PlayStation is they had their little opt-in program, right? Like, hey, sign up here for a chance to be one of the first to pre-order. Which I don't know, I guess is good. They have said in the past that they will give people plenty of notice, just like Xbox did today. So supposedly they will give people plenty of notice before pre-orders go live. But I need a guaranteed way, man. I don't want to be jumping around, because I remember when the Switch came out, I almost didn't get lucky. I was jumping around Best Buy, Target, Amazon. It's rough.
Right.
And especially right before the holiday, it's going to be even harder. So,
and I feel like if you signed up for their little thing, you should get a guaranteed place in line.
Absolutely.
Like if you signed up for that, I feel like that should be a guaranteed place in line. Because a lot of websites will do that. Not to be random, but I got an email to order my new phone.
Sure.
And because I signed up for the, be one of the first to pre-order this, they sent it to me. I actually got a pre-order a day earlier than the rest of the public did.
Sure.
So I feel like they should utilize a system like that, because clearly the people who are interested signed up for that. Right.
Yeah.
But if they said plenty of notice, it makes me wonder, what if they come out more like December? And how important do you think that would be if Microsoft beats them to the release date along with everything?
So I honestly, as far as holidays go, I think if you're before Christmas, you're solid. I think at the end of the day, the majority of these for the majority of people, these are going to be Christmas gifts. I would assume there are enthusiasts, especially like content creators that'll get it day one just for themselves. Right.
Right.
But I think that the majority of people, this is more of like a Christmas thing.
Okay.
So I think as long, and especially with launch titles too, if I know that a PlayStation 5 is coming out in December, and that also means that the launch titles for it aren't coming out until December, that's cool. I'll wait.
Right. Of course.
There's a few different variables there.
It's just so crazy to think how close we are, and we've heard nothing. I mean, honestly, even from both sides in terms of software, what's coming with the games, like both sides.
I was telling KB, so last time me and you were both working at GameStop, right? Mm-hmm. And they were announced at E3. Obviously this year, a little bit different. But it's crazy to think that back in June, for the current gen consoles, 5 or however many years ago that was, pre-orders went live. They were announced at E3, and then we started taking those $50 deposits.
Yep.
And that was it. We knew the price. We knew, I don't know if we knew release date, probably not date yet, but we at least knew
price. They said holiday, whatever.
Yeah. So, but it's still so strange to be at best probably 2 months away. I don't see any way that they would do October, November at the earliest, December at the latest. I would think. yeah, it just blows my mind that we are still waiting for information.
So we'll kick it over to a different, the opposite side of things with PlayStation. Like, let's use this as an advantage for PlayStation. PlayStation now sees Xbox's hand is out in the open.
Yeah.
Sees
yeah. There's
everything.
no more secrets.
If you know your system is more expensive, beat them to the punch. Come out a week earlier. People will buy it just to get ahead of it, just to be the first person with the next gen console.
And I think that's where you're getting at with your previous question. So I think because there are people that are only going to buy one console, there are people that'll buy both. There's different gaming enthusiasts out there with different types of budgets. For the ones that'll only buy one, it might come down to the person who releases first, right. Especially if they're the same price.
Right.
You're going to have people that are going to go for the more affordable option, the one that has the best day one exclusives. You've got people all across the board.
Right.
So yeah, it's now that Xbox, has their all their cards on the table, like you said,
and it's a good hand.
Yeah, maybe they are going to make some changes, but I think Xbox laid down a really solid launch. Yep. Granted, if it was a little out of their hands, price, date, pre-order, accessibility, like they kind of nailed it all.
All we're missing is some solid launch titles.
Yep.
Look, we got games that are going to come with it because all our games will work on it.
Yeah.
But we need some new games to go along with this system.
I need something other than me booting it up and loading something just to be like, oh yeah, this does look good.
Right.
Okay, back to my PC.
Correct.
Yeah.
Because I got literally a PC for that exact thing.
Yeah.
So
because I told Trey I'll probably get Assassin's Creed, just because I want to play Assassin's Creed anyways, and I'll probably just get it on Series X just because. Right. And then I'll have something that probably showcases it a little bit better than maybe an up-resed Gears 5 or
right.
What not to say that won't look good. I know what they're doing is not just
we'll probably get Forza. I didn't think about that. I just thought about that. We'll get Forza.
The new one.
Like, I'll buy Forza.
Yeah.
I don't know if they said for sure it was coming out launch day.
But
I would assume with Forza's coming out almost every holiday, that would be a title that, being a first party title. Well, I get it for free. Game Pass. I don't have to buy it. I just get it.
Yeah, for sure.
Yep. It's the beauty of Game Pass, man.
Yeah.
Trey, do you have any thoughts on the matter in terms of like launch for PlayStation? Like, do you have anything that you think like PlayStation needs to do to combat what Microsoft just laid down?
They just need to give us any kind of information.
Anything.
A crumb of information would be great for me right now.
Yep.
Because the Series the Series S is looking fantastic to me right now.
I don't blame you.
Like, I still have my old Halo 5 Xbox and it still runs fine. But I think if I'm going to take that leap into the next generation, I'm going to go with the Series S. Like, there's no reason for me to get an X. Like, I'm not trying to game at 4K 60
Would you hook
FPS.
it up to your monitor?
Yeah, I would hook it up to my monitor, and my monitor is like what 2160p or whatever.
Right. That's exactly So why
I'm not
shoot
too worried
4K?
about it. Exactly. And then the cool
awesome.
thing too that I think we forget to mention is that all of the previous Xbox accessories are going to work for the Series X. So if you have, even if you're playing on your PC and you're deciding to get a Series X, if you have a controller that works on your, like if you had an old like Xbox controller, like just a regular Series or not, I don't even know. There's so many damn names.
An Xbox
One controller. If you have a regular Xbox One controller, it will work.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I think that's the one thing that people tend to forget.
The compatibility
PlayStation
is amazing.
Yeah, I think that's like the huge that's a massive selling point for the Series X and Series S is that it's backwards compatible.
Yeah,
like
to a lot.
To original Xbox. Like,
right,
insane.
Right.
Whereas, I mean, PlayStation, they haven't really announced or said anything as far as backwards compatibility goes.
Yeah.
So they got to give us some kind of information, man, because I'm snoozing over here. As the Sony boy of the group, I'm hurting.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, still, if I had to choose only one for day one purchase, it would be the PS5 still at this point.
Just Just for games alone. That's
just for games alone. I want to play Kena Bridge of Spirits. I want to play Miles Morales. There's just more of a push for me to play on PlayStation right now than there is on Xbox.
I need Demon Souls to be a launch day title.
Yeah,
exactly. That's yeah.
I have
Yeah.
to.
I'm right there with you, Tim.
I have to have that game.
And I'm sure once they saw that Halo was not launching with the console, I'm sure they're trying to have as many games released for launch day as possible, because that'll definitely win a good number of people.
Because realistically speaking, that's the selling point at this point for the PlayStation. That's it. That's really all they have. And that's not in a bad way.
The only thing that's confirmed right now. Yes.
Right. And I don't mean it in a bad way, like, oh, all they have is these games, their console. No, their console's fine. But as far as we are aware, because they don't got the price point, again, as far as we're aware, they don't have the release date. As far as we're aware, the only thing that has us excited, or me personally excited for the PlayStation 5, are the titles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The only other thing, and I'm not even 100% sure on this, but I'm almost positive that the only thing that the PlayStation 5 does better than the Series X is their custom hard drive.
Correct.
I think you've got speed, like you've got load times. Like,
yep.
I don't know if you guys saw, I'm really excited about Kena Bridge of Spirits, so I see some of the stuff they post on Twitter. And they just did an interview with Game Informer, and they said like a cold launch, so you're just on the PlayStation 5 menu, opening that game, 2 seconds.
That's awesome.
Like
That's
you click
phenomenal.
it and you're in. Like that has me excited. I'm as much as or at least Tim, as much as we love Avengers, those load times are kind of rough.
Dude.
Like I hate dying, not because I hate losing, but I hate dying just because, okay, it's going to be another 20 seconds till I can play.
I literally set my controller down and play like a game on my phone while it
Yeah.
loads. Like that's how
It's
long
bad.
it is. It's
bad.
bad. It's like Fallout New Vegas bad sometimes. Okay, that's stretching it. But it was really bad.
Yeah. So I don't know. Well, I'm sure we'll be doing another one of these podcasts within a week. Like I said, the cards are on the table. PlayStation has to say something before those pre-orders go live on the 22nd.
They got 2 weeks, less than.
So I'm sure we will be back here sooner rather than later to discuss some details there.
That'll be a fun discussion too once we finally get everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure I'll be more talkative in the next one. So.
Yeah, like I said, man, I'm definitely more excited for the PS5 myself. I'm getting an Xbox Series X, and I'm sure it'll be great eventually.
Ooh.
But
Someone just showed off the box for the Series X. Oh, that's clean.
Really?
Like the retail box.
Yeah, the retail box. Yeah.
Really?
Interesting.
Yep.
Okay, can I just state how ugly the Xbox Series S is though? We didn't touch on that.
The
Dude,
giant
Trevor
box?
sent this to me. Trevor sent this to me when I was streaming, a picture of this thing. And I didn't believe him because I pulled this thing up and it literally looks like half a console with the top of the Xbox One, the Xbox Series X plastered onto the side of it. Like, I'm just like, that's hideous. That's not real.
Hopefully Tim knows to not doubt me when it comes to gaming news again.
I hate the way it looks. I'm dead honest with you. Hate the way it looks. I'm sure it's a great console. I don't blame anybody for buying it because you're not buying it for the way it looks. You're buying it for its performance, which it'll have, especially at the price point. But why not keep the vent the same color at the
That's another reason why I'm like hesitant, because I'm like, I want to see if there's any like special editions that are coming out. Same thing with the PlayStation. I'm like, if it's just the white one that's coming out, I'm probably not going to get it.
The size is impressive for sure.
Yes, it is
how tiny it is. Like I was saying like that's something that I'd want next to my PC setup, right? Like, so for my 4K TV, I'll have the Series X, but maybe I want to pick up an Xbox game and maybe I'm getting done with WoW and I want to play something on the Series S. You know, I can play that on my 1440p monitors and be fine. So
right.
But yeah, not to ramble on. I'm sorry, I kind of got off track there. Yeah, any final thoughts before we hopefully are on break for a week and are back here again for some PlayStation details?
I mean, look,
give me a Halo Special Edition Xbox. That's all I want.
We're all excited about this whole thing, right? Everyone here is excited for it, and I'm happy Xbox, as unfortunate as it is because they didn't want it to happen, we now know, we see their hand, they have everything out. I think that's great. I think what they've released and what we know is fantastic. So good on them. They put a really good start to this whole run. right?
Yep.
I think PlayStation, it's your turn. You got to make a move. You
Balls in your court.
have to make a move in the next couple of weeks. Otherwise, you will. I'm not gonna say you're gonna lose the quote unquote console war, but it's not gonna help your case. So, just figure it out.
Yeah. Just to clarify, I don't want to open it up when we're trying to wrap things up here, but just to clarify anything that I would have said, I'm not a console wars enthusiast. Play what fits you the best.
Right.
Don't talk shit to people that want to play something different than you. Just enjoy what you want. Let people enjoy what they want. That's all it is. We all just want to play games at the end of the day. Just have fun.
Crossplay.
Yeah, well, you know what? Xbox sucks. I'm out.
Yeah.
Just kidding. No, I'm just kidding. No, I'm in the same boat. Like I'm all for competition, right? I love seeing the memes of Xbox person versus PlayStation person. I think it's funny. But yeah, just play where you want. Be happy for the people who are playing those games, and hopefully, cross-gen is going to be a thing more often this time around. And
it's happening.
You won't have to talk about that.
It's happening so much to the point to where, like, when it's not there, it's upsetting.
Yeah,
yeah. Competition drives innovation for sure. I think that's not an issue. It's just this toxic mindset that the thing that I choose is right, and if you don't choose it, you're stupid, and I will never forgive you.
PC Master Race. What?
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 I didn't hear what you said.
I don't know.
Don't worry about it.
Okay.
Don't worry about it. Let's wrap it up.
Yep, wrap it up.
All right. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you guys next time.
Oh, okay.
Thanks for listening to FAMcast. Be sure to subscribe for the latest episodes and follow us on Twitch, Twitter, and our other socials at For All Manakind.